it's really sad not to be here with you physically, but this is the best what we can do today. We've been participating on the Financial Forum many times, almost every single year in the last 5 years. And obviously our partnership with UOB, we really feel that this is UOB is our family, and very excited about this partnership. I must say that UOB was really a kind of a revolutionary in getting into the venture capital space, and once UOB did that, actually many other banks and financial institutions tried to copy what UOB done. So maybe before I start the presentation, I would like maybe Sarah or Andrew, if you could just push that a quick video introduction. So can you please start a video? Thank you.
Is innovation linear? An entrepreneur has an idea. A venture capitalist picks it up. It's productized. And the market makes it a hit. Or not. But the world is no longer linear. Political systems toppled. Hierarchies collapsed. Industries reimagined. The world is being disrupted. The oldest human ventures modernized. Life-changing technologies are now at our fingertips. Everyday experiences are voyages in surpassing our limits. We are exploring the deepest corners of Earth, from the inside and out. Now, venture capital is being transformed, and it's happening beyond the lines. First came democratization, providing unprecedented access to investors and new sources of capital to entrepreneurs. But today, it's bigger, deeper. Entrepreneurs are sharing ideas. Corporate partners are offering global opportunities. Investors are providing capital and connections. This is a platform for interconnection. This is today's venture capital. This is the innovation revolution. This is our crowd.
Thank you, Andrew. And let me now see if the magic works and if I can share my screen. Good. Sarah, or someone confirm that you can see the screen?
Yep, we can.
Wonderful. Okay, it worked. So before I start formally, I just want to make sure that past performance is not indicative of future results. So as I mentioned, we started our partnership with UOB almost 5 years ago, and we really brought this partnership together, bringing UOB's strengths, values, deep connections, and our crowd on our end being a fintech disruptor and one of the world's leading global wealth management platforms. The media liked it very much and still writes about us constantly. Before I speak about a little bit our crowd, I think we have to mention a couple of words on what's happening in the world. So Microsoft's CEO Satya Nadella said, I think this is my favorite quote since COVID-19 started, we have seen 2 years worth of digital transformation in 2 months. And it is not just true for Microsoft, but basically for any company in the world. But to be honest, this disruption has only been accelerated in the last year due to COVID. This disruption started already many years ago, and if you look at the last 5-7 years, there is a very interesting trend you see. So if 20 years ago, if you look at the biggest companies in the world, one was tech. The dark blue is tech. The light blues are other companies. So the non-tech companies was Microsoft. 10 years later, 10 years ago, it was Apple. Still only one company. was tech when you look at the 5 biggest companies. Since last year or 2 years back, actually, if you look at the biggest companies in terms of market cap, they're all tech. And by the way, if you look at 6 and 7, if you take out Warren Buffett, Berkshire Hathaway, it's actually usually Alibaba and Tencent, depends which day you ask. But this slide, if there's one slide you need to kind of remember, or I would like you to remember after this presentation, is I think that this is actually one of them. Let me guide you through it. So the orange, I don't know how it looks like on your screen, orange or brown color is the private value creation, and the gray is the public value creation. What does that mean? If you look at Apple, if Steve Jobs pitched you about his idea when it was still in the idea was when Apple was still in the garage, and you had put in $10,000 and you sold it at IPO, you would have made 600 times your money. Yeah, so that's $6 million. $10,000 is invested. IPO, you sell it, $6 million. So that's a pretty nice return on the private markets. But but we have to be aware of it that private markets are, investing in venture capital is still high risk. It is illiquid. So if you invested at IPO, so you go only in when the company is already public, so you have daily liquidity, and you can have a better understanding of the company. So you invested at IPO, again $10,000, and you sold it today, you probably gonna make another 500 times your money again. So which means that you put in another $10,000, it would be today somewhere between $4 to $5 million. So pretty good. Meaning the returns both on the private and the public markets are very nice. But now if you look at the right side of this graph and you look at Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, Yelp, what bothers you on the picture? I hope you see it, that it is that there is no more gray. There is no more gray. Facebook, which is probably one of the best IPOs, which gave you, depends which day you ask, but 5-6 times your money. That's this is nothing compared to what you could have made on the private markets, meaning before it went public. So what you may ask is that, hey, that's not fair, because Facebook has only been public, for 8 years. Microsoft has been public, or Apple, for 30 years. Why don't we just wait? But for Facebook to match Microsoft's public market returns, it would need to be worth close to $50 trillion. With all the respect, that's 3 times US GDP. Yeah, so what we see is that those days are over when you can have the same alpha, the same returns on the public markets as it was. Almost all the major returns that everybody is looking for moved from public to private before IPO. So, and by the way, and this is what is being done through venture capital. This is the business that we are in. And if you look at venture capital, if you look at the returns compared to all the other asset classes, actually it is much better than private equity, real estate, public markets, etc. However, and this is the issue, venture capital although is a success story. It is the kind of the hottest asset class around. And it changed everything at every field in the world. It's not available for the for successful people who want to invest, because it is usually what happens that the minimum investments that is needed to invest in venture capital is somewhere around $30-50 million. Maybe you can get 20. Maybe the minimum is $20 million, and the minimum and the amount that you should put into venture capital shouldn't be more than 5 or 10% of your net worth. Now, if you do the math and reverse engineer it, that means if you don't have $1 billion, it's unlikely you can invest in venture capital. So although this has been one of the best asset class, it is one of the hottest sectors and the most kind of disruptive sector in the world. It is a restricted area basically for normal successful people. So this is what we try to disrupt. So this was the idea. The vision of OurCrowd was to bring the private investing opportunity available and accessible to the not just to the billionaires, not just to the institutionals and for the corporations, but basically everyone, as long as you are what we call accredited or professional investor. Every country has a different minimum requirements to be an accredited and professional investor, and I urge you to speak to your banker to ask what it is. So OurCrowd today is one of the biggest funds in the world. We are also the world's leading wealth management platforms. We have 1.5 billion AUM. We have looked at 10,000 companies. Today we have over 200 portfolio companies. We have over 20 funds, and we already had 40 exits. We have offices around the world. We have an office in Singapore, thanks to our partnership with UOB, and in Hong Kong, Australia. So we can when you look at the names that we work with, I think you recognize most of these brands. We work with this as a distribution partner with UOB in Asia, but especially in Southeast Asia. But we have Stifel, one of the biggest banks in the US, where we work with them in the US. NAB, National Australia Bank in Australia, and we work with some of the big corporations. Also, we help corporations with scouting and giving them access to very important technologies. And we work with companies like Hitachi, Honda, Denso, and we basically cover everything from incubators to late stage, so very early stage investments to late stage investments. If I really kind of need to summarize the two kind of products that we offer to our investors, depending on whether you are a private person or a corporation, which I understand that both could be present here on this at this event. So I just picked two offerings. The one, when it comes for private investors, so if you're not a corporation or an institution, if you're a private investor, and we have more than 3,000 private investors, one of them is, for example, the Sassoon families, this is all public information. I can only share, obviously we have confidentiality, but these are some of the brands that I'm allowed to share. So Sassoons are one of them that I can speak about. Basically, what we offer for the private investors is diversification, access to the private markets, also diversifying not just asset class, but also in terms of geography. And what we offer is something called the OC50, which is a portfolio index fund. This is our most diversified portfolio index fund, which invests in 50 deals. For corporations, if you are one of the corporations that are present, so what we offer for corporations and institutions is access and scouting, and because our model enables the corporations with flexibility. You can pick and choose the deals you want. Usually what happens with venture capital is that you have to invest in a fund, and a fund means that you cannot pick, and it's a blind pool. You have no ability to pick and choose the deals. Here, what you can do is you can choose just relevant deals that help your company or your technology. And we have this product called Innovate. Some of the brands that we work with, I'm sure you recognize them. Obviously, Hitachi, Honda, Halma. In Singapore, we work with Keppel and Changi Airport. Okay, so a little bit about OurCrowd. OurCrowd today has, as mentioned, over 200 portfolio companies. We already have 38, actually 40 exits. We had 2 additional exits in the last quarter. And although we are Israel-based, but we also have, we are diversified geographically. And we have, I think, a very good performance. If you look at the numbers here on the right lower quarter, these numbers, obviously, this is yearly. The IRR is returns, the yearly returns. Some of our funds that we offer. So what we try to offer our investors also funds, which means that, but when it comes to funds, we have the portfolio index fund, which I mentioned to you, which is super diversified. It goes into every single deal. But if some investors only would like to do healthcare or mobility or late stage, early stage, we basically have funds for every, so that it satisfies everybody's demands. So what's happening in the markets today? Although the COVID-19, a lot of investors have became defensive and decided to focus on their current portfolio and to stay away. At least that's what we saw at the beginning of the year. I think many investors now came back, and actually smart investors are out there on the offense. Those who have cash, they can get access to very good deals. What is very important in venture capital, a little bit like public markets, that you have to diversify also vintage. So you want to do averaging, and lots of data shows that the best venture capital vintages are actually those vintages when there are downturns. Yeah. So what is key here? I don't know how much you guys are in technology, but you have to look for the best terms, discounts, ratchets, warrants. The beauty here is that those who are brave here, they can get access to some of the best deals. The same way as in March on the public markets, you had an 80%. Some of the companies were down 60, 70, 80%. If you got in, you had incredible returns. Very similar to the venture capital, we just have a longer life cycle. What is our thesis? We think this new normal is not just short-term hype, but tech is here to stay. What is key here, and whether you will invest through us or you invest on your own, I think this new normal will stay. So what you need to look at is relevant product market fit that is not just for now, but also for the post-corona world. And this is not just medical, but automation, communications, distance learning, e-commerce, working from home. These technologies, the technologies that enabling these industries will be here to stay. That's our thesis. So let me give you a couple of words about the OurCrowd 50. Which is our diversified portfolio index. So I mentioned it invests in 50 deals. We already exited after 3 years, 6 companies with a 2.3x return. And our DPI, which is a very important indicator, it's the distribution to paid-in capital, is already 20%, which we are ahead of the top quartile US funds. This is some of the OurCrowd exits that you see. We see a number of IPOs and a lot of acquisitions. The last quarter, basically, we've seen Microsoft, both one of our companies, CyberX, and then Lemonade, which went public in July, is actually the best IPO so far this year. The year hasn't ended yet, so we'll see what happens. But so far, the best IPO. By the way, last year also we called the best IPO with Beyond Meat. Beyond Meat was also one of our investments. So we've been actually very, very much blessed with the 2 best IPOs in the last 2 years. By the way, I don't know how much you follow Lemonade, but we had an incredible ride there. It's already in the 90s. We invested, the first investment we did was at 11 in 2.5 years. So that's a very nice return. The team, John Medved is probably Israel's most well-known high-tech venture capitalist. And it was really his vision after being in venture capital for more than 30 years and building more than 10 companies, each worth over $100 million, and 2 companies public. So he is really the visionary for building OurCrowd, and he saw the need for this platform, and it really partnered up with an excellent team. This is some of our fund managers that run the funds and the investments, really the who is who of Israel. So again, the idea of this OurCrowd portfolio index, which is available for you now, is basically that it gives you with one investment venture capital asset class, achieve diversification, and there's grant allocation in every deal. Again, extremely important that it is only available for professional or accredited investors. We can just jump through a couple of slides here. What we also provide is that it's a post-investment. You can follow every single investment. You see the diversification, how it goes, which is again very unique. In venture capital, this is basically unknown. For the public markets, it's very easy to do because you have daily pricing and all the information is public. But with venture capital, this has never been done before. So again, just to summarize it, and then we can go for questions. Where there are two available offerings are here. One is for the private investors, where we believe the OurCrowd portfolio index is probably the best opportunity. Obviously, every private investor can do deal by deals as well. So they can just choose one deal at a time. And again, the corporations who are looking for more deal by deal and scouting. So with that, I'm happy to answer the questions. Maybe Sarah or Andrew, if there is another video that I sent to you, maybe if you have a chance to share that, would be great. If not, then we can just go into the questions.
Historically, high net wealth individuals and family offices have been focused on public markets, real estate, and other traditional asset classes. Yet with today's interest rates at all-time lows and an accelerating rate of technological change, investing in private market startups can provide significant returns. It has traditionally been difficult for investors to access these private markets. Now, there's a way to democratize these opportunities for a new class of investors, thanks to OurCrowd. Meaning OurCrowd's members can now participate in exclusive global technology investing. OurCrowd is the world's leading technology and venture investment platform. The platform is now approaching $1.5 billion in committed funds from 35,000 members in over 180 countries, and has invested in artificial intelligence, healthcare, agri-tech, cybersecurity, food tech, autonomous driving, and drones. Dozens of OurCrowd's portfolio companies have already been acquired by some of the world's largest multinationals, including Intel, Oracle, Samsung, Nike, and Uber, and have listed on public exchanges like the Nasdaq and the Singapore Stock Exchange. This new way of investing is providing unparalleled access to the world's leading technology companies, and the companies funded by OurCrowd are using frontier technologies to change the world. What if there was a way to be part of this global technology revolution? To change the way cancer diagnoses are made, revolutionize the way people are transported from city to city, save our planet's most precious resources, make sports more exciting, and even enable paraplegics to walk again. So, how does it work? OurCrowd identifies high-quality venture investments, conducts in-depth due diligence, deploys its own capital, and invites its accredited global community to invest on the same terms. The same terms as the world's leading venture capital firms and multinationals with which OurCrowd co-invests. OurCrowd has also developed various theme-based funds with in-house or external managers to help investors build robust portfolios. Now, a new class of investors can participate in the global tech revolution thanks to OurCrowd.